Is it a cigarette? Or is it someone who has different lifestyle choices? Do as I say, not as I do. Fuck you! By the way, YouTube algorithm, I said Fook, as in F-U-C-H. I am going to put these lug nuts back on so I don't lose them, because I would. What's up, people? We are back for Casey's 80s Garage. Yes! But let's be honest, did this place ever not be 80s? A C4 Corvette, Porsche 944, we're back. Come on and check it out, you guys. This is the one, this is my second one. You guys saw the red Porsche 944 I had last year, daily drove it, got the 928 done, that was a lot of fun. Also had the MR2 and the Volkswagen Scirocco. Those cars are all gone now, and we're into a new generation of 80s cars. We're gonna go over the Porsche 944 that I finally got. Now this one is special to me because the color combination I always dreamed of for 944 was an early car with the early dash that has a black interior. You can see that on here. This one actually has the Porsche Jacquard fabric or whatever it's called, I forget. I got masks for days, guys. It's COVID time, right? So anyway, black interior and the old dash. I'll get out of the way so the cameraman can see it. I just like the old dashboard better. The circular gauges from the time period feels more like a proper race car. Remember, it reminds me of the days when 924 and 944 turbos ran in IMSA and Daytona and stuff like that. So to me, it feels more period correct and racy. I really don't care for the new dashes in 944s, which was like 85.5 and later, because they look like every boring 911 and everything from the same time period. And that's for Porsche snobs. So if you want to not be a Porsche snob, you have to be a 944 snob by liking the old thing. I know, it's contradictory. Just go with it. But anyway, come on out. So, and it's white. I can't remember if it's Alpine or whatever the name was. It's white, whatever. And if you need to touch up, you got to match it. So that's what I wanted. But the key to this all was it has to have the white Fuchs wheels. Yes, Fook you. By the way, YouTube algorithm, I said Fook, as in F-U-C-H. Ha. So it's got the white Fuchs wheels. You can see they've got discoloration. There's, you know, the brake dust is on here, and it kind of turns it a little brown and funky. So I'm going to be polishing on this. Generally, they're in a good shape. The aluminum here is really nice, and this is original. So I'm going to do the best job I can to bring back the life of these. Actually, they're pretty lightweight. Now, these are the smaller size ones, if I'm not mistaken. They're 15-inch diameter. I kind of prefer they be 16-inch, but whatever, it's period correct. You just got the smushy sidewall tires. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this last one off here and tell you what I'm planning with the whole build. Wait a minute, what in the heck? Socket. Cameraman, you got the socket. Is this a 12-point or a 6-point? Okay, everybody, do not do what I am doing, which is using a 12-point non-impact socket. A really nice Porsche aluminum alloy. Oh God, this is killing my deal.
Didn't get stuck earlier.
That's because you manhandled it, camera guy. There's so many people cringing. I hope they're Porsche snobs. This socket with this electric impact on these lug nuts has all the charm of Bill Cosby. Yeah. Okay. It's also a terrible joke. Somebody laughed. I am going to put these lug nuts back on so I don't lose them, because I would. That happens. That's my tip of the day. Put your hardware back with the piece, one of the pieces that it goes to. That's the best way to not lose it. And then people are like, I'm not gonna lose it, I'm gonna remember where it is. Yeah, for the next 10 seconds. 3 weeks later when you get back to it, where's all my hardware? Ugh. Okay, and don't use a 12-point socket on anything impact. It's a terrible idea, cameraman. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this right here. Also, don't set heavy things on aluminum wings, because it'll dent it. Do as I say, not as I do. Yes, sounds like an old person, doesn't it? Okay, so what are we gonna do to the 944? Come on over if you can see in the wheel well a little bit. So it's generally a good car. It was kept up. It was well loved. The brake rotors are nice. I hate these brake pads because they make a ton of dust. I'm just gonna go over it and tell you what's good and what's bad. Okay, so the shocks are okay, but they're smushy. I'd love to upgrade the shocks. It has the stock exhaust system on it. That is lame. Can't even hear it. And there's something kind of to be said. It's like, oh, it's stock. This is the way it was back in the day. We can make it better. And here's the tip of the day for 944s and 924s, especially the S. I can't remember the exact one. but some of the guys, students here last year, they know. Literally the best sounding muffler on one of these things is just like a cheap chambered like turbo or Floormaster muffler. I'm not even kidding. It sounds better than a glass back or your expensive stainless steel systems. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna build my own thing. Now, this particular car is about 150,000 miles on the, oh, that feels weird. No, it's okay. On the chassis, the whole body, and the engine. This particular engine has blown up 2 or 3 times in its life. And I've got all the records. So the horror show has its own paper trail. It broke a timing belt twice, which required the heads coming off and redoing of the valves. And I'm thinking about 25,000 miles ago, it had a full engine rebuild, which is really cool and probably will be an okay thing. However, full disclosure, there's a few things I don't like about engine rebuilds on 944s. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, it does not have steel cylinder walls. They're the aluminum ones of the block, and they're like maybe Nicosil coated or something like that. So if somebody goes and bores it and doesn't recoat it, it's just gonna eventually wear out. So I don't know what's going on with that. Also, when you start this thing and it's really cold, there's kind of a funny mechanical noise. It's not bearings, but I wonder if it's a little bit of piston slap. I don't know. It goes away when it warms up. And the bearing for the air conditioning compressor roller isn't very good, so that needs to be done. But regarding the exhaust system, which is a lot more fun, it still has the entire stock system on it. And what I'm considering doing is actually taking off the cast iron headers, which really aren't that bad. They're really not that bad. And putting on tubular headers, which now that I'm looking at this and saying about doing that, I'm like, why do I want to do that? This really isn't that bad. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that, but I do have the little O-ring kit to redo the water to oil heat exchanger. So this obviously has a radiator on it to cool your coolant for the motor, but it has a heat exchanger for the oil. So what that does is the oil flows through that and the water flows around it. So the oil, which would naturally get hotter than the water temperature helps keeps the oil temperature level down a little bit by basically sending the oil heat through into the water, the heat energy, and then dissipate it through the radiator. And that also helps warm up the oil faster because the water temperature comes up first with this thermostat, and that basically like warms the oil. So it's kind of neat. There's also a water to oil heat exchanger on the Genius Garage race car, which is a great thing because in racing you want the darn thing to come up to temperature quick, because if you end up on the track and you're not warmed up enough, you don't want to hurt your motor when you have to hit it. Also, a very nice fan sent me the proper plug for this and the little decal, so I'll be putting that on. I've got it in the car still. Got to clean this up, clean up the horror show of this degrading. Yeah, that's nice. And let's look over here. This is a way to tell if your heat exchanger has gone bad. There's some gunk in here. Yeah, that's a little bit of an oily, sludgy residue, which would most likely point to that heat exchanger being an issue. Hopefully it's not a head gasket or something. But frankly, I've been driving it like this for a while, and it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, so it's probably okay. But anyway, so that's something that's got. So exhaust system, I want to do the shocks, and currently right now I'm pretty excited. Would you believe that KW Shocks, I think, is going to hook me up? So I'm very excited about that because it's an incredible product from Germany. I didn't really know about them that well because they're not in the States, but doggone, it's high end. So what I want to do is get the suspension a little happier with shocks. I want to do some better brake pads, which aren't so darn dusty on my Fuchs wheels, because Fuchs them. And they need to look prettier. I need new tires. These tires are horrific. So I'm going to call myself out. Last year I did a video on how tires are basically the most important thing and the most important safety aspect of all cars. And like a jerk, I've been driving around on these tires, which are horrific. So come on over here and check out how awful these tires actually are. You can see they are dry cracking. And they got tread and they flex and stuff, and the sidewalls look okay, and they're fine. And there's gonna be plenty of guys on like vintage Ferraris and vintage Porsches. They're like, these are my old Michelin tires. I like the way they look. They're not very cracked. I don't drive my car hard. Ugh. Well, you suck, and so do your tires. So these things, honestly, I've been driving on them, and I don't feel like they're gonna explode, but they might. And that's dumb, but I drive in the middle of nowhere. Hence why I'm going to change them. But the first time it rained with these tires, even though they would grip fine when they were new, oh my dear God, It was like a cow on ice. Not pretty, but sure would be fun to watch, but terrible for a car. So I'm going to replace the tires. Last time I got tires for the 944 I got some Coopers, which were okay. I'm not sure if it was the suspension on my car entirely or they had a lot of sidewall compliance, but I'd be okay with trying something different. We'll see. Maybe there's a company out there that wants me to try something cool. They're 15-inch. Also, don't get BFG radial TAs. Those old school ones, I hate those tires. Like this has BFGs on it, which are, I think these are like the Comp TAs. Or no, these are G-Force Sport. Comp 2, big name. These are okay tires, but those old muscle car ones that you can still get in 15-inch, I can't stand those things. They're okay, I just can't stand them. All right, so come on over here. I want to show you what we're gonna do in the interior, and I'm gonna pop the trunk. So this is today is just getting it in the shop and getting up on stands so I can start working on it. I think it's kind of exciting is, for me here, I get the luxury of being able to have the car be down for a little while so I can really attack it. So come on and look in the back. I've got some new fans here. The ones in it are okay, so these are spares. My privacy blind thing for the back needs some work. I don't know if it's trashed or not. I have here some parts that we're going to use. Okay, that's for doing an oil change. That's smart, we can do that. Here are new studs for the exhaust manifold that we'll need those when we go ahead and to get to the heat exchanger. And then here, if you want to come here and look a little more carefully, these, what's this for? Is this the gasket for the heat exchanger? I think it is. Hold on. I think this is the gasket for the heat exchanger. Yeah. And then this is the tool to get everything aligned properly and set it. So that's the stuff there. That's going to take a little while, and the car's going to be down. I like the luxury of being able to have the car in here like this and take a little bit of time because they didn't give me a discount or anything. So whatever. Not that I expect it, I'm just playing games. The nice thing about having it in here like this is that I get the opportunity to concentrate on this thing, do a really good job, take my time to do it methodically and right, and kind of enjoy the process rather than a total bum rush to get it done. We got some bearings here, although, do you like the name of this? Yeah, are these from England? Is it a cigarette? Or is it someone who has different lifestyle choices? We'll never know. Or maybe it's the last name of the person at the bearing company. I don't know why I have these. These are from the previous owner. Or are they from me? Wait a minute. What am I doing? L-Ring, Germany, Deutschland. What? Okay, hold on. I'm learning with you guys. I don't even know what I got. A seal. Okay, well, we've got bearings and seals that I don't remember buying, which tells me the previous owner knew there was something amiss, which we should probably figure out and fix. Now, more fun than those things, I have got, yes! Now, there's a very nice fan who on my red 944 was so kind, and he bought and sent to me the 944 short shift kit. I don't mind giving a little shout out, only944.com, nice place. The shift lever here is something all 944 owners are going to want. This bolt, and it has little radial bearings on the side. They look like washers, but they're actually like flat bearings, like thrust bearings. So you put this on, and it gets rid of all of the side-to-side slop, like virtually all of it on the shifter, and just makes it so crisp and so awesome. And the 944 gearboxes are actually a delight to shift. They are one of the nicest shifting gearboxes of any car I've ever driven. No joke. This one's got a jillion miles on it, so it's not as nice as it used to be, but it's still pretty good. And then this aspect here, this is the actual short shift kit to change the ratio. Real nice spherical bearings, machine parts, etc. But this has to go on the transaxle, the top. So to do that, you got to have it up in the air. You got to have this off. I might take off the suspension. You got to take some crap. Or not suspension, but the exhaust, which I'm going to be doing the exhaust on the car and doing my own build. Now this part, this is nice. This is really easy to do. We'll do this later. This is for the tail lights. So this is to have three, I'm trying to remember. I think this is the tail light. So basically, long story short, there's like this, this, and this, and I don't remember which ones are brake lights, but one of them doesn't light up that's red. So you plug this in and it's got jumpers, and it makes your tail lights brighter and more visible and safer with the backup. So I like that. It's a nice little mod, and I was really thoughtful of that one fan to send me for the red car, so I had to get them for this white car also. Now, the other thing, and I don't have the fabric here with me, and this may take a little while longer, you guys, If you look on this side, Mr. Cameraman, I will go to the other. So these seats are black, obviously, the color I wanted for the interior. Now, the driver's seat here, let's look at the way it's split. This is from, you know, bottoms getting in and out over many years. The vinyl here tore at the place where it was stitched. The cloth is actually still fine. So if I took this to an upholstery place, they could just replace the vinyl and it would be fine. However, I'm gonna be honest about these seats. The Porsche Jacquard's kind of cool, although it's kind of dorky. It's sort of like the equivalent of like buying a Gucci bag or a Louis Vuitton, which, okay, it's got a lot of history and all, but every freaking Karen that sucks down red wine that has a rich doctor husband walks around with that. And I feel like that's what this equivalent is for the Porsche seat fabric. So it's got to go, Karen. And fortunately, I've got a lot of Porsche fabric left over from the 928. So yes, it's going to be black and white, checkerboard, psychedelic. So everybody that's watching my channel that's high will love the effect. But it's funky and cool and I dig it. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then the vinyl here, it just looks kind of cheap and it's flat and it's lame. So I think I'm gonna have these panels replaced as well. And then I am going to send the rear seats, if you want to take a look here. I'm gonna take these in. They're in great shape and I don't need to. But assuming I've got enough Porsche fabric to go around, I'll redo the rear seats in that as well. Also, a very nice thank you to the fans that have sent me 80s cassettes. That is really super awesome and fun. I got a Top Gun one in there right now. And one particular fan was so kind, literally made me a mixtape of synthwave, 80s tunes, and would you believe, some of the songs from my YouTube channel. So that was very, very thoughtful. I appreciate it. And I didn't even realize it until I was listening at the end when they included some of my YouTube songs on there. And it's just really meaningful. I appreciate you guys. So, a couple other things. The shifter on the early 944, I didn't realize is dumb. All the 944 shifters are basically like this. They have the boot as part of this shifter. However, this early one, it's square. It's just, it feels dumb. So I'm gonna do something differently here. I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep the original steering wheel on. It's the nice lightweight Porsche one. The leather's in great shape and it feels good. And it's a little bit bigger than typical Momo Prototipos or Monte Carlos, which should be period for this. And I do have a Momo hub and a steering wheel, so I could just put it on. But the problem is when you put a Momo steering wheel on, it blocks like part of your gauges. So that's kind of the drawback there. So I may leave that. Also, it has the dash cover on, which is pretty lame. Oh, the dash cover doesn't even want to be in here. So the worst part about this is not that there's cracks in the dashboard, but the dingus who put it on used all this silicone glue. And I'm not sure if I can get this off reasonably from the dash or not. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is, one, I am too cheap and lazy to take the entire dashboard apart and restore it properly. So it's my everyday car. There's ways to make things look good. And I don't like that dash cover because it vibrates when the car is cold, or I'm in like a drive-through. That drives me bonkers. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work to get this glue off, and then I'm gonna just with you guys, I'm gonna find my own way to fix this and maybe even make some sort of nice upholstered cover for it out of suede or just something cool. So we're gonna do that together as well. And then lastly, is something I wanna do. So we're gonna do the exhaust, we're gonna do short shifter kit, we're gonna do suspension, we're gonna do brakes. One thing I might do on the brakes, by the way, is, now you guys are gonna like hate this, but we gotta get it over ourselves. So obviously a wheel has these holes for ventilation for the brakes, but I don't track that car. So I'm never gonna drive this thing hard enough to fade the brakes, especially if you have good pads on it. So I'm actually thinking about getting, if I can find some that fit real nice, they make thin metal discs which sandwich between your wheel and the hub that cover the holes. They're just black so that the brake dust doesn't get all over your wheels. Because I want my nice white wheels. I want my kicks to look good, okay? I don't want it to look like my dad's shoes and I've been mowing the lawn, I got grass stains, okay? I need my white wheels to look good. All right, so lastly, with my 944 Fancy Pants Non-Snob, Porsche Snob, Super Snob, Squad, you gotta have a Martini and Rossi racing stripe. Yes! I found a place, I don't remember which one it is. So there were 924s, which a 924, by the way, is a 944's prepubescent sister, if that makes sense. They're not as pretty, and I don't care if you say a 924S has a higher top speed than a 944. I don't care. The 944 is prettier. I like the bulges. Yes, I am being distracted. Come here and look at this. So a 924 has that big dumb round reflector here. And the martini stripes that they made for them is kind of like wedge shaped. It comes all the way back here, and then it sort of goes to a point, and it's light blue and dark blue and red, and it's really cool. However, if you get a 924 one and try to put on 944, I think there's a cutout where the reflector would go, but I found a place for people made the martini stripes for 944. So I'm gonna get those, and I think I'm gonna put those on. I don't love them, like just the pointy subtle ones, because it's like, not subtle enough or it's not bold enough, but I might just get over it because it is period. It's what you did back in the day. And this car's kind of nice, largely stockish. So I want to bring it back that this car will reflect all the cool kind of racing funk of the early 80s and late 70s of, you know, European endurance racing, Martini Rossi Porsches, and just that time period in a cool way. I don't want to resto mod it. I like the Porsche that wasn't necessarily offered in this car, but I don't care. It's from the time period. We're gonna get the white wheels looking great. And of course, I'm gonna touch up all these stone chips. Come here and look carefully. And I'm gonna show you guys my technique for doing that. It's a really good trick, so I want you to come back. And then the last thing, of course, we're gonna do a proper buff on the whole car, because it really needs it. I've been daily driving this for a while. Gonna do a proper buff, get it all prepared, and then of course, ceramic coat it with Avalon King. And no, that company isn't just a company that's helping me with this channel. This stuff is awesome. So definitely gonna be putting that on there. It just keeps all the crap off. But guys, that's what's coming up. Yeah, ugh, boy. We're gonna learn stuff together. See you guys next time.